One and all, hope you're doing well. I'm going to quickly summarise the risk sentiment overview for the FOMC day. As you know, it's going to obviously be quite uncertain. The indices are actually making a buy on the FXCM, so I'll show you that. However, the big picture, we are risk on, but the 24-hour difference is indicating that they're buying the dip. So ideally, they don't do that. Right? If we want to be buying the dips as well, we don't want the herd to be doing the same. The VIX is below the yearly pivot. So keep an eye on 26.5, put an alarm on trading view, and definitely do that. Just create an alarm for 26.5. If we go above, it's going to be quite risk off, okay? And the yields rose over the last 24 hours, but that would be expected because we've got the Fed and we've got the interest rate hike, and whether or not they're going to do a full basis point, it's unlikely, but they might, and so there's quite a bit of uncertainty. And because of that, there's a little bit of fear in the bond market, so they all rose, okay? And this is unhealthy because we've got a big inversion. You can see how they're declining there. It's not right. So this is a risk-off sign. And German 30 compared to last Wednesday is actually more of a sell. Euro pound was a sell. We had the Euro pound sell signal yesterday. That was a good one. It netted us 50 pips yesterday, which is quite cool. And oil as well is a standout. Okay, so that's that. So maybe that's useful. Remember, this is a weekly time difference, so lots of things happen within a week, right? And also we've got the Gazprom Nord Stream issue with the Eurozone, and to be careful with DAX, okay? Be very careful, because fundamentally it could be quite bearish. You know, this whole gas pipeline crisis, you could say. It's all in Putin's hands. So the Euro USD was lagging quite a bit yesterday, and it's continued to lag. However, pound and Aussie are strengthening against the dollar. So that's clearly Euro weakness, and it goes back to this. Okay, so just to be careful. If the Euro does continue to fall, the Dixie is going to do quite well because the Euro is quite heavily weighted in the Dixie. So I think maybe we might see further weakness, but we don't know. Just keep an eye on things. Average bubbles. Now this has changed since. So it was Aussie CAD. It's now Kiwi CAD because the bubbles constantly move to and fro and they fluctuate. So what's happened is that they've bought the New Zealand dollar. By buying it, it's become more of a sell, and it's now the strongest sell. So for some reason, they've bought the Kiwi. In the hour that it makes this bulletin, they've actually decided to buy it, and we've seen the NZD bubble is gravitated over here, and it's actually further than the Aussie. So this is now incorrect, and it's now Kiwi is weakest. Right, so things are constantly moving, so you've got to be on top of things as well. And the bubbles are really useful. You can see how Aussie CAD, Aussie being weak, CAD being strong. You see the price performance, so that's clear indication that the bubbles work. But you would have had to have woken up early for that. So it's just a proof of the pudding that it works, basically. And this is how we look now. Buys are greens, sells are reds, but you want an increase of the number or a decrease of the number to confirm that bias over time. Right? This is the snapshot. You want to see the confirmation over time. How do you see the confirmation over time? You get the FXCM trading station, so you can see this develop. Okay. So that we went very sideways on the S&P. And it didn't really do much at all. It was really stagnant, and now what's happened is that price fell, and that shifted and stirred the pot, and the retail guys have got shaken up a little bit, and so they, this technical break, it caused them. They're going to now look at that, and think, whoa, okay, so maybe it's going to fall again, and so they're shorting it. So they did go ever so slightly long here, and so that was like a little slap on the hand. Don't go long, so it fall, and so it fell, and then they decided to short it after the break, thinking, well, okay, maybe we can target here, or maybe we can target here, and so they're looking left, but they're not looking at the sentiment, they're just looking at technicals, and so they're looking left and thinking, well, okay, maybe this is going to hold, maybe we should target here, and by doing so, they're creating like a herd mentality, and so they sell it. So that's S&P. I think we might get to 4,000 potentially, and we're going to obviously have some supply here. You can see that wick. US 30, and we see, I made a video on Discord about this. We looked at yesterday's analysis compared to today's, and we saw how this developed. I was saying how we needed a break for them to short it, and they did exactly how I said, and so they shorted it, and so price went up. So whether or not it continues to go up, it will remains to be seen. You need to get a copy of this trading station so you can see for yourself. I can't monitor every single market all day, it's just impossible. But if you get a copy of the trading station, you can see. But that worked out perfectly, and we had a break, technical, and so they sold it. So, we should come up, right? So it's a punishment, basically. And like I said in Discord, I am out because these traps are so realistic. They're very convincing, and it's very easy to be to join the herd in that sort of mentality, to be fearful, and that's what they want us to be. They want us to get out of the casino, and they want us to sell it. So these kind of things you've got to be careful about, and that's why I'm out, because we're still in the trap placement phase. We're not out the woods yet. You look at the yield curve above, and DAX is making a buy, so be careful. We haven't crossed yet, so hence the hexagon, but we might cross, and if we do, up will come. And gold is a buy, but why is it risky? Well, it's risky because they're not long. Look at the percentage, but they're reducing longs. If they reduce longs, it's going to be a buy. Okay, if they add long, it's a sell. If they reduce long, it's a buy. All right, so it's a risky buy whenever it is above 50%. However, we might go towards 50% over time, and time is the key. Okay, so I'm happy to help you guys understand the time component if you want. It's really important to understand the static and the dynamic nature of sentiment. And not much movement, just lots of 5% shifts, so that's kind of strange. Pound and Kiwi didn't move at all, and pound yen didn't move at all as well. And the largest stop loss cluster is the Euro USD, and it's unusual to see the Euro USD as the largest stop loss cluster. That's very rare. Normally it's the Aussie, but now it's the Euro, so it's 102 is where they've got their stops. So very imaginative and very creative of the retail guys to put their stops there, but that's where they have their stops. So maybe we might get there to probe that stop loss cluster. It's a large liquidity pool, and it can be easily gained. It can be obtained quite easily, and we might even get there, on Powell's speech. The dollar might dump. We don't really know for sure. Could be a rally up to Powell, and then we can dump. It's just very tricky. I'm out right now. I'm just watching, so it's quite uncertain. You should know about this now, but after the 1st of September, the Quasidb code, it reverts to 10% discount. But now it's a humongous discount, but after the 1st of September, it'll be 10%. So get the annual plan while you can. Otherwise, you'll be paying $31 a month, or $10 a month. It's up to you. I know what I'd rather go for. I'd go for this one. So you get the Quasidb code for annual, and then you've locked that price in for a year. Okay. This is better than yesterday. We were quite low yesterday, but this is a bit better. And note that CAD is being naughty. The rest are behaving okay. 50-50 is still uncertain, and we're possibly going to be uncertain all day because they've got their FOMC. And whether or not they're going to raise a whole basis point, they might. If they do, the dollar is going to really strengthen. And ideally, you'd wait for 60 or 70%, ideally, before entering. And then so we had a lot of crazy chop because of that Nord Stream news, and it stopped us out of the dollar CAD at a 39 pip loss. And the reason for that to bounce is that Europe will rely on Canada for their gas. So if Russia do stop the gas pipeline completely, they're going to rely on Canada, and so the Canadian dollar is going to appreciate because exports on their gas, and Europe are going to be a big customer, and so anything with this is going to cause a lot of volatility with the euro, and as a consequence the dollar, because the Euro USD is the biggest currency pair, it's the most popular currency pair, and it's the most liquid currency pair as well, and also CAD is going to bounce around as well. So just be very careful. Anything like this, it causes things to go awry. So we had a fairly large loss on the dollar CAD, and our best one was the euro pound. And to be careful with the pound as well, because we've got the UK Prime Minister contention. That's a lot of that could be a a risk off event on the pound, or it could be a risk on event. And so there's technical checks. Remember, we will only target or trigger when we get to strong buy or strong sell. So we won't be getting pound USD because it's buy. We might go to strong buy. It's hard to say, but if we do and the bubbles agree, then we get the signal. Okay, so just remember to look at the daily, look at the summary. Okay, and we're not interested in any of these other time frames. Just a daily summary. Okay. Eco calendar, you should know about this now. All eyes on this, and whether or not a reporter throws a curveball, they might, and then we might get some juicy information from Powell, and obviously he's got insight, more greater insight than us, because we're just basically just like mere mortals. He's got information that he might divulge about inflation, and if he can see light at the end of the tunnel. And he's quite positive and quite hawkish, so can really move the market. So be very, very careful. There's your 7:30 press conference UK time. So obviously keep an eye on that, and just trade carefully, and probably just monitor. If you're unsure of anything, you can ask me. And also don't forget the no trade. It can be a good trade as well, and so that's that. So be careful, and we might be making a buy on DAX, but get a copy of this trading station. You can see it develop over time. And I'll speak to you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, I'm away Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday, so I won't be contactable really, because I need a break. So I'll be back Tuesday. If you really need me, send me a direct message and then I'll get back to you. But ideally I take a complete break from the screens, and I'll be back Tuesday with the bulletin. But I'll be back tomorrow, and then that'll be it for the weekend.